No, what a great opportunity for our team. It was extremely important to get a top 4 seed and to end up second where you've got some more time to rest, and we need that as a program just to make sure we get our guys healthy, and that seems to be really one of the big limitations for our team is just how healthy we can be going into a tournament like this. And when you have to win 3 games in 3 days, just more time to recover from the long regular season, and then the opportunity to just have to play 3 games and to get to play 3 games. So we're just so excited, and not knowing who you play is unique, and waiting for a couple games to happen before you see who you end up playing against. But we've put ourselves in position because of the way we've competed so far this year to have an opportunity to win it, and we're excited about the opportunity to go play.
Questions for Coach McCasland? Along with injuries and wanting to be able to take these next couple days to be able to rejuvenate, if you make it to the championship game, do you think you'll enter at a certain point in the game to where you would maybe want to rest some of your guys ahead of the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, at this point, I can't see a scenario where resting guys and not trying to play this thing at full strength to win is part of it. I mean, I don't have any other way to look at it. I do think to win and to play our best, we need to rotate earlier in the tournament, and that just gives you the best chance to win the first game, which I think is the only game that matters at this point. I've seen over the last game, specifically against Arizona State and then again against Colorado, just when we can go to our bench and we can rely on more guys, I do think we play better defensively. And that's been a big part of our success, is not just we know we have the right talent offensively, it's about getting the right shots, but how effective can we be at competing defensively? So I would say the biggest advantage to maybe playing more guys, and I wouldn't say resting, I would say more like involving more, is just so our defensive effort is what it needs to be. And that feels like if we can do that, then we can play in transition, and we're so much better in transition on offense than we are if we have to play against set defenses. Everybody is, but it just feels like because of the way we can shoot, that's important. So going into this tournament, my mindset is, how do we play our roster to give us the best chance to be great defensively and keep fresh guys out there? And then however that plays out over the course of the tournament, it won't be affected on whether we're trying to rest people for the NCAA tournament.
And you got 3 teams that obviously that you're preparing for. How are you managing that? Are you looking at all 3 right now and game planning for all 3, or you kind of going to wait till tomorrow when it kind of narrows down?
Yeah, well, thankfully we played Arizona State recently, so that being one of the teams, and then K-State and Baylor, the other 2 teams that are options at this point. We do have a pretty good familiarity with both of them, so I would just say we're preparing for all 3 at this point, and we'll know pretty quickly, what the 2 teams it's narrowed down to, and then that'll make it simpler. But I mean, we practiced today, and we put things against all 3 that we felt like would be a part of it. And as far as the game is concerned, I do think we've got good scouts ready for whoever we play.
Is Darren expected to be full go for the Big 12 after tweaking his ankle?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was glad he came back in and played against Arizona State, and our approach is that he would play and be 100% going. I mean, not 100% as far as how healthy he is, but 100% as far as him playing.
Christian Anderson, he's so good. He's really popped off this season as a freshman. How important has that growth been, especially as the season has progressed and now into the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, to Christian Anderson's credit, he's always been such a unique decision maker and scorer with the ball in his hands and ball screens, and he's got a maturity in his approach to work and his feel for the game that's light years ahead of anybody else, to me, at his age that's played. And so that's a credit to his family and to his work ethic and to his character. I mean, I've said it a bunch, but he finishes first on sprints. I mean, there's very few freshmen that when a team's doing sprints, especially as fast as Elijah is, I mean, those 2 guys are finishing first. And it's just awesome to see him grow. But the area he's made the biggest growth is what he's doing defensively right now. And I think you can take a few of the games down the end of this stretch and see what he's doing. He's just really embraced I think everything that it takes to win for us, and that's what I've loved most about Christian, and I think that's the area of impact that he's made the greatest strides.
One word to describe JT Toppin.
I mean, what comes to my mind is electric, and I just mean that in regards to he's got a different nose and energy when he plays. Like, he loves playing basketball, and I didn't know his competitive level when we recruited him, because he's like, my first conversation with JT, he was sitting on a bed, and I FaceTimed him, and it came up, and he's kind of leaned back, and he's at the combine. He's like, "What's up, coach?" And I was like, it's not what I didn't know what I was gonna get. So he's a laid back guy when you talk to him. He's awesome. Like, he's such a good person, and I love being around him. But when he plays basketball, he plays with an edge and intensity, and he loves to compete, and he can really impact the game in so many ways. But I tried to explain it to people after I'd been around him a few times. JT is different than I can explain anybody I've ever coached, and it is got a different energy to it when he goes and grabs the ball, and when he shoots a hook, and when he wants to go block a shot. It's different, you know. But the competitiveness is what I think separates him. And it's one thing to have that skill and that talent. It's another thing to want to go beat somebody that bad. And that's what I'll give JT the credit for. So it's not just athletics. So that's one way to describe it. But I just think his energy is electric in regard to how he competes. And it's fun to watch him.
You had to have seen a Big 12 Player of the Year coming for him for probably a little bit of time now. When did you know that he's got the potential to do this in his first year with the Big 12?
Well, that's where being an experienced head coach, or just having experience as a head coach, not at this level necessarily, but just what you want to do is you just want to maximize their potential. You don't care what the accolades are at the end of the year, because you have no control over that. That's voted by other people. We don't actually vote for that. I mean, as our staff, we can't vote for our own players. So what are we trying to do here? Like, I don't think about that. I don't even consider accolades. I do look at JT. When I first got around him, I'm like, he could be one of the best players I've ever been around. And I've been around lottery picks. So to say that I even thought about this would be irrelevant to what we felt like was maximizing JT's potential and how it impacted our team and how we could win and what he could do to help our team win. And man, as he stepped into that role with 2 feet, I mean, in every area he's gotten better, and it's his work habits that have actually given him the best chance. So, I mean, I just knew with his talent plus how hard he's working that he could be one of the best players in the country and impact our team in a way that allowed us to be one of the best teams in the country.
We're talking about this team shooting from beyond the arc. Obviously, Chance lead the Big 12 in that regard, but I believe I'll have 19 games now this year of at least 10 3-pointers made in a single game. Having that side to the game kind of locked down for the majority of the season, what does that do for the depth of this team offensively?
Yeah, ultimately our team is about sharing the ball and making the right play, but if we're open, we're not going to hesitate. That's what I love about this team, is just the ability to recognize who's on the floor with you and what the advantage is, and then when we're open, we don't think twice about it. I think that's a confidence way to play. And I'll tell you where our team has grown the most is trying to recognize what the defense is actually worst at and then what we can take advantage of. So we don't just settle, and it's not just one guy who does it. And it happens occasionally, but for the most part, man, our team is committed to finding the right 3 first, and then when we're open, we don't hesitate.
You know, the main goal this week is obviously to win the Big 12 tournament, and you've said it yourself, there's no easy games in the Big 12, and we've seen what y'all can do throughout the season, but what's the kind of little things you want to see from your guys this weekend as y'all prepare for the NCAA tournament in the next coming weeks?
Yeah, I think the biggest areas that we need to improve on, one would be post defense. I don't think we've been great in that area, whether it's doubling the post or whether it's keeping the ball from getting angles at the rim or fouling. And 2 would be just the response that we've continued to grow with when we don't make shots. Like, what's our energy level like defensively, and how do we compete, and can we beat people in the margins? And we've proven that we can do that in stretches, especially at the end of games, but it's like, how can we do that in the first 10 minutes when things don't go our way? And I do think this team wants to win, but sometimes we let the game of runs impact the way we compete early in the game, and we've got to solidify that and create better margin early.
Coach, Kerwin has raised his game on both ends of the court here recently. Can you point to anything that's allowed him to do so?
Kerwin's improved because of his consistency. I mean, he was in here yesterday 3 times, and no one asked him to. He's a worker, and guys that work get better. And so if there's anything that's a credit to that, it's his willingness to be coached and listen to us and genuinely try to do everything we're asking him to do. And it may not be his strengths, but he's given everything he can, and 2, he works, throughout the entire year. So if he doesn't play, he's in the gym. And if he does play and he's the best player, he's in the gym. He's as consistent as anyone I've ever been around in my life.